When students were late or missed school, they always reported to the attendance room, which also served as the in-school suspension room. The only staff member who ever manned the room was a secretary called Midge, a little old lady with a Q-tip haircut. I walked into the crowded attendance room and Midge looked up, squinting above her reading glasses that were attached to a gold chain around her neck. She stopped typing at the sight of me, letting her glasses fall from her face, and then leaned back in her chair. "Oh my, look who's back again and so soon. Did you miss me, Mr. Hayes? Because if you did, I'm sure you could find a better way to arrange to say hello." "Yeah, I know." "What did you do this time?" "I told Mr. Ryan that I saw bugs crawling all over him." "Is that it?" "Yeah." "Well, it sounds like bullshit to me. So why don't you tell me what really happened?" Midge frowned, shook her head, and then quickly went back to typing as the stoners began to chuckle. Most of them were older, the last of the deadheads. Sporting tie-dyes, sandals, and floppy hats, they were glassy-eyed and permagrinned. Most tried to hide their Walkmans under their long hair that Midge wouldn't bother taking away anyway. Two burnouts were rambling to each other, uninterrupted by Midge, who often took part in the conversations she allowed all day long in the in-school suspension room.
"No way, dude, I don't believe you."
"No, really, man, really, when they first tried to send someone to the moon, the first couple of times they ended up burning up. So the first set of moon pictures were all fakes to fool everyone into thinking we were all great and powerful."
"So you're saying we've never been to the moon?"
"I didn't say that. Now they got bases on fucking Pluto, man."
"And some of you smoking your wacky tobacco are right up there taking permanent residence," Midge added, looking over her glasses. "Take a chair, Hayes." She raised her voice. "What are you waiting for, a host to come and see you?" A moment later, the door swung open, and Principal Murphy walked in behind two older skaters, telling them,
"This ain't some damn country club where you two can drop in and out of whenever you damn well please. You just can't drive off school grounds whenever you want. I don't care if you're hungry. That's why we serve lunch, wise guy. I want both of you in my office first thing tomorrow morning, and then I'll deal with each of you personally. Do you hear me?"
Vic turned around and fixed on the principal with his sharp eyes, one of them blackened from some recent fight, and nodded his head. "Mr. Murphy, do you remember your big meeting today?"
"Yes, Mrs. Flanagan, I just can't seem to get out of here today with the best and brightest of Riverview to contend with, and nobody. Better give Mrs. Flanagan any of your junk if you know what's good for you."
"Whatever, man, we love Midge," said Vic, who acted as though he were about to hug her. "We treat her better than you do."
"I've heard just about enough out of you, mister."
"They'll be fine or I'll whip their heinies," said Midge. "Now don't miss your meeting dealing with these knuckleheads. They won't know what hit 'em, Mr. Murphy." Mr. Murphy smiled and then looked at one of the burnouts.
"Wake 'em up! You wake up! This isn't kindergarten. There's no nap time here."
Mr. Murphy walked out, but then turned to glare at Vic and Casey.
"Sit down,"
he commanded, and shut the door when they didn't pay him any mind and instead hovered around Midge's desk as the burnout fell back asleep. Vic started to pick up a photo on her desk, but Midge slapped his hand away. "I just want to look at your daughter. She's so hot, I can't help it." "Vic, don't start with me today. Not today. I'm not in the mood. I got a lot of work to get done. Sorry, Midge, you know I love you." Yeah, but only because I let you all get away with murder." The room mumbled in agreement. "Now take a seat. You don't want to get me fired, do you?" "Hell no, Midge." Vic looked around for a place to sit, and since there was none nearby, he grabbed the sleeping kid up, yanking him out of a puddle of saliva, and shoveling him away. Midge stared at him with a shocked expression. "Vic, what do you think you're doing? That was very rude." "What? He was drooling all over the place and Murphy told us to wake him up." "Vic!" "So? He doesn't care. He can sleep anywhere." The kid shrugged and slumped into another desk where he dropped his head down again. "So what's up, Midge? How's you and yours been?" asked Casey. "Busy and overworked as usual." "You still working that other job?" Vic asked. "Sure am, boys. That's not good for you. You should be taking it easy." "What, and leave it all to my husband so he could go for his third heart attack?" Midge answered and then went back to her typing. Casey glared around the room, and the stoners instantly got busy doing something else. Then Casey looked at me. "What the hell are you looking at?" I went back to my book, and when I looked back up, both of them were staring. Casey held his hand up over his mouth and whispered something to Vic, who asked me, "Do you know what you're wearing?" "The conscious band?" I asked, thinking that he was just messing around. It's not funny, bro. You better take that shit off, Casey threatened, pointing at my chest. Why? If you're a racist, that's your problem. You're calling me a racist, you fucking poser? Casey shouted, becoming enraged. You don't know nothing about Africa. Black people don't want you wearing that. Casey! Midge slammed her hands down on either side of her typewriter. Knock that off and sit down. Have you two lost your minds? You probably don't even know what it means, Vic said. Free South Africa. Free from who? Casey asked. From posers like you, Vic shouted at me. Vic, Midge snapped. What? Vic responded in a joking manner. Both of you leave that boy alone. Midge raised her voice, reaching for the phone, picked it up and then slammed it back down. He can wear that if he wants. No, he can't. Hilltop Posse said no white should be wearing those things. And if we can't wear them, what makes him think he could get away with it? I don't care. You boys are going to leave me no choice. I don't want to call down to the office, but I will. Hilltop Posse, I asked. A black guy let me borrow it. I don't give a damn. You want to fuck with Hilltop? Casey raised his voice, looking at me if I were stupid. You'll wind up dead, Vic shouted, looking as though he wanted to start brawling right there in the in-school suspension room. All right, Vic, Casey, get the hell out of here, Midge screamed. Go to the library. All right, you both passes, but don't make me call down to the office because this time you will be expelled, and that's the last thing you two boys need. Midge was shaking as she grabbed the pass book and began to scratch out their passes, her wrinkled and bony hand moving 3,000 miles an hour. Here, take these and get the hell out, she commanded when she had completed the passes in record time. But both held still, mad-dogging me. Do you boys have wax in your ears? Midge shouted, releasing the tension and making the duo crack up. The two sauntered over to the exit. As they passed in front of me, Casey leaned over my desk and said, next time I see you, I don't want to see that thing hanging around your neck because it looks real stupid on a white boy like you. Casey! Sorry, Midge. Yeah, I bet, she said as Casey snatched the pass from her hand and stormed out. Thanks, Midge, said Vic as he gracefully accepted his while winking at the lady. But Midge continued to stare angrily up at them and followed him with narrow eyes as he moved out the door. After they walked out, the burnouts began smiling again.
Wow, man, you got some guts to stand up to those guys.
It's nothing. You should try it sometime.
What's your name, man?
Kelly.
So you know Vic and Casey?
Not really.
Wow, man, this is better than TV.
Oh man, well, it was nice knowing you, dude.
Why?
Cause if I were you, I wouldn't want to get on their bad side, man.
Oh, brother, moaned Midge, going back to her typing. You all are worse with your rumors than old ladies on bingo night. They're just a couple of normal boys like you all. Or maybe now that I think about it, she added after a moment's thought, none of you are normal, but they're just the same as you are anyway.
Maybe they're like sweethearts to you because you don't treat them like every other adult does in the school, but out there?
The kid gestured to the hallway.
Out there, it's a different story.
Midge rolled her eyes and went back to typing.
No, really, Midge. Most of the teachers not only don't like them, but some of them, well, are kind of scared of the LEECH mob.
The LEECH mob, I questioned, and noticed the name alone seemed to make them all uneasy.
Yeah, those kids you just mouthed off to.
Wait, you really don't have any idea who they are, do you?
Whoa, wow, this is blowing my mind, dude.
Said the little stoner who had been jerked out of his seat by Vic. He had remained quiet until now, and was rocking back and forth, shaking his head unbelievably. Wait, what's your name again, dude? Kelly, what's yours?
Ted.
I nodded my head and his boy asked,
Kelly what?
Kelly Hayes.
He's that kid I heard about from fucking Norton. The bat, the kid with a fucking bat. Bam, man. Yeah.
Watch your mouth, Billy, Midge
Kid
warned.
with a fucking bat.
Bam, man, Ted echoed as they both grooved out in their heads with squinted eyes. Well, maybe you ought to think about bringing that bat back in, Billy laughed dryly. Oh, no you don't, warned Midge. I'm going to pretend that I didn't even hear this conversation.
See, that's why we love you, Midge,
said Ted. I must be losing my mind, she answered as she tore a sheet from the typewriter.